guys. Hello once again, it's your boy Ambassador again doing his thing. As usual, I'll come with videos here which you might not have seen. Even if you have seen them, I'm adding my own opinion to it, which is another twist. At times, not even talking directly to what the video is talking about. It's just what came to mind or my thoughts when I watched the video. So I'm going to be talking about democracy, why democracy is un-African. It's a crazy thing to say, but I'm not actually saying that democracy is un-African. But what democracy looks like right now, actually I even call it at times democracy. So it's just a demo of a crazy thing.
Rishi Sunak has announced a snap election for the beginning of July, and I just want to use this as an opportunity to let you know that democracy doesn't exist. Okay? It doesn't exist. And I'm sorry if that shatters anybody's illusions who might be watching this, but the truth is you likely need to hear it. Democracy doesn't exist, and think about it. You've been given some random day in the middle of nowhere, basically given a month to decide between two political parties, essentially, because no other party can get a look in, that are two cheeks of the same arse. I want you to get ready, because what's going to happen over the next month or so is the media is going to want to ram down your throat more and more negativity and fear-based news, okay? They're going to want you arguing with each other on Facebook. They're going to want you arguing with each other on Instagram. They're going to want you arguing with your families. They're just going to want more division, because that's all this is. And the more you feed into this program, because that's all it is, it's fear programming and division programming, the more you become locked into this fake system. It's fake. Democracy's fake. Free media is fake. None of it exists. But what is real is you, is us collectively, and our power. And if we all collectively said no, I understand my power as an infinite consciousness having a temporary human experience on this earth. Imagine the changes that could happen, because they need you locked into this false show. It's a circus in order for it to continue. So I want you to say no, and I want you to accept that all of these things are an illusion.
Crazy system. But first, I think the Africans already had their own kind of democracy before democracy came, which was a very representative one. Even when they had a king, he had his council of elders, which were representing of the various families, or should I call it clans in the group, which were voicing out to the king, and then there were all of those systems that they had in place, which now we broke them down and then came and put in place, should I call it colonial representatives who were just enforcing the colonial agenda and the colonial interest. So is that really democracy? So now, also, what is the use of democracy if the people who are voting or enforcing those decisions have a poor understanding, or should I call it a negative idea towards the society as a whole? Let me explain. So if you have a group of people who think murder is okay, does that now make murder okay because they vote in a law to say murder is okay? And in democracy, at times, it almost sounds like that's what defines right or wrong. When we're looking at all these abortion rights and things which are now becoming right, many other things I don't want to list here right now, but are now becoming right because the majority voted that they are right. Is that really the yardstick for right and wrong? I don't know. I'm just asking those questions, but that's what democracy tells us. Also, so when a people are not thinking, that's why I always talk about a good critical mass, because when you have a good critical mass that is thinking in a certain direction, it's easy to put in place those laws and then enforce those laws because the people think in that direction. But once you have a critical mass that have been brainwashed or poorly educated or poorly exposed to certain facts, then they are thinking in a certain direction and they enforce certain laws and vote certain laws which might be counterproductive even to themselves. But it is what it is. The next thing I said is the process of elections. So when we look at the process of elections, like we saw in America a number of times, elections have been called to question. George Bush in the Florida state, his brother was governor, there were all of those questions. When I see a father is president and a son is president, why is that not a monarchy? Just please remind me again. When I see in Russia, somebody's president, then he steps down to prime minister, then his prime minister becomes president, then he goes back to president, his prime minister becomes prime minister. How is that not a monarchy? Remind me again. The biggest empire ever, the British Empire, is still existing and is enforcing and is friends with all of these other nations preaching democracy. How is democracy the it thing? So all of these questions which I have regards to democracy, but I'm not saying democracy is bad. I'm just saying that there are all of these questions within democracy which maybe needs to be fixed if we need to continue with democracy, or do we look for some other system that best fits our situation. Now, I also said the African communal leadership style was working for Africa before African was, should I call it, disrupted. Also, the role of the media. I think there's nothing like free media. Free media does not exist. At times, I usually just, when I'm watching, let's say there's current news, I'll watch Al Jazeera and I'll watch CNN. I think there's this Russian guy, RT something, which they give news from the Russian side, but it's global, so they speak in English. And then you just see everybody pushing their narrative, the same event, and there's each story is very convincing. They're talking about the same thing, like, you see that guy is black. They give you all the facts why he's black, and say yes. I always watch and I'm like, yes, that guy is really black. You switch to the next channel, that guy is white, the same car, and they give you all the facts around you, and you say yes, that guy is white. Then the next one says the car is grey, and they give you all the facts and say yes, and they're just like, okay, everybody is pushing their own agenda in a very convincing way and everything looking like it's true. But if you have at the back of their mind what is everybody's agenda, you're going to appreciate each of these, should I call it, media houses through the lens of their agenda, and then you are going to have a more, should I call it, balanced opinion of most of these global trends or news trends. So, with that being said, I just felt like I should talk about this video, which talks about democracy, giving my own opinion on some of these things. As usual, I ask you guys to like, share, comment. Most importantly, comment, because I want your opinion. I want to engage with you guys, and then just to get people thinking in that direction. As usual, this is your boy Ambassador.
Just my opinion.